I now call this meeting of the Bryan Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The time is now 6:00 p.m. We want to extend a warm welcome to everyone present. We have many spotlights to do today as we catch up from last month. And again, we're thrilled that everyone is here. We are going to start by our pledges of allegiance. First, we will do the American flag, and we are going to be led by Bowen Elementary. So welcome, Bowen. Gosh, they're precious.
Parents, y'all can come right up there if you want to.
They would like to introduce themselves if that's okay. Your name is?
Michael, Leah, Jaden,
Jalea,
Imani, Ellis,
Liam.
And these are some of the staff personal children from Bowen Elementary. Then they are excited to represent Bowen today with our pledges. Are you guys ready? Right hand over your heart.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bowen. And now to lead us in the pledge to the Texas flag, we welcome Bonham Elementary.
Good evening. I am a proud principal of Bonham Elementary, Gloria Garcia Rhodes, and Bonham Student Council is here to lead us in the Texas Pledge, and so I'm going to let them introduce themselves before we get started.
My name is Azelle, and I'm in 4th grade. My name is Evan, and I'm in 4th grade. My name is Zoe, and I'm in 4th grade. My name is Fabian, and I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Jose Rico. I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Riley, I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Avery, I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Riley, I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Kaylee, I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Cameron, and I was in 4th grade.
My name is Sonity, and I'm in 4th grade.
I am so proud of this group of kids because they've been off, they've had a long weekend and they all came out to do the pledge. Sadberry, these students are yours next year. Yes, okay, if we'll all salute, right hand over.
Honor the Texas flag. I honor allegiance to the Texas, one state over God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bonham and Bowen, for being here today to lead us in our pledges. All right, we are going to move to our spotlights. And we have quite a few today. The first is going to be our Bryan ISD Education Foundation check presentation to the Career and Technical Education Department. We welcome Ms. Sarah Braden and team to lead us in that. No, we need, you have to speak in a mic because we live stream it. Thank you. Is it on?
go.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
David.
Thank you. Okay, on behalf of the Bryan ISD Education Foundation, we're excited to present David Reynolds and Laura King a $20,000 check on behalf of St. Gobain and Certainty Roofing. So Certainty Roofing is building a facility across from the CTEC Center on Mumford Road. And as a sign of just welcoming their new neighbors, Certainty wanted to give this large donation to the CTEC program to help form a partnership that will be beneficial to the students that we serve. So we're excited to present this check tonight on behalf of St. Gobain and Certainty. Thank you.
Do y'all want to go down? Y'all want to go down? Yes. Okay, next we have our Essential 8 E8 Partner Award. And that is going to be presented by our Director of Career and Technical Education, Mr. David Reynolds.
Good evening.
And
President
we
Harding.
welcome the Bryan Noon Lions Club.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Thank you all for allowing us to spotlight one of our great community partners this evening. When I came here over 10 years ago, the Bryan Noons Lion Club spotlights a CTE student every month. And that student is picked, the teachers nominate those students. We have a committee, the Bryan Noon Club has a committee that they select the student, and they invite them to one of their meetings, their noon meetings, feed them lunch, and invite their parents to come and the teacher that nominated the student. And they've been doing that for over 10 years. And so tonight, I just wanted to publicly thank them and say thank you so much for supporting our CT students. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to the kids. So thank you very much. And tonight we have Mr. Paul Kuntz, who I've known for a long time, Miss Dickey, Gerald Pop, and Steve Duncan. And so thank y'all very much.
Mr. Kuntz has done about everything, but at one point in time, he worked in our CTE department in Bryan ISD.
He was a CTE teacher. And I will tell you, at the end of the year, they have a final student, kind of a student of the year, and they award them a monetary scholarship. And so we greatly, greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Sir. They're smart. They're just going to stay down.
Oh, yeah, I guess we want to do the steps.
Okay. And next, our Essential 8 E8 Partner Award We will welcome Miss Lisa Mouton, and we will be recognizing the African American Museum.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share just a few words about the incredible partners, friends, and supporters that we have in the African American Museum. For those that have not visited the African American Museum, you're truly missing out. We've taken many groups. I've taken my Sunday school class a couple different times. It's a tremendous, tremendous museum, and the individuals standing in front of you are just truly pillars in this community. They truly are. They've been serving this community for many, many years prior to just us recognizing you in this moment. And so if you don't know Barry and Mildred Davis, you need to get to know them, and Miss Jennifer Ross Hassan as well. You need to make sure. They're tremendous individuals, and I'm honored as well to have been an inductee into the African American Museum. And it was truly one of the highlights of my life, to be completely honest with you. And so I've asked some of the ambassadors to come up and share. For those of you that don't know, they've been a strategic partner with the ambassadors, and we have a Night to Shine event that I turn your attention to on the screens. That is our special needs prom, and we've conducted it for 3 years, and the African American Museum has generously donated money to funding of that. And so the ambassadors would come on up for just a quick second, and Hillary Thomas is going to say just a few words before we give you our plaque here.
Good afternoon, you guys. So I am Hillary, a student ambassador. I'm a senior at Rudder High School, and these are my classmates. I haven't been an ambassador for long, but becoming an ambassador has made such a positive impact in my life so far. It's helped me grow as a person, not just the free food, but interpersonally. It's helped me work together with people as a team to communicate with those. I've always been a solo person, not really a part of the group, but this group has opened me up. This group has also given me other student ambassadors around me. So if you've ever heard the saying, birds of the same feather flock together, this has given me my flock. And it's helped me make new friends. Like I said, sounds cliche. Friends of all ages, seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, even some teachers, people who you would walk past the hallway and not say anything, but it's given me people to talk to who are of the same goals that I'm trying to achieve. And most importantly, being an ambassador has taught me how to serve, to leave a lasting impact on Rudder and Bryan ISD. And given that the ambassadors is only 2 years in the making, we are the pioneers of this group. And I'm glad to be building for the future of our Bryan ISD students, and maybe one of our kids one day will be an ambassador. Maybe one of you elementary students can be a Rudder ambassador one day. And I'm glad to be building the groundwork for you guys. Some upcoming events we have, as you heard, are the African American Gala, and we thank them for sponsoring the Night to Shine for the Rudder Special Prom. And I want to thank Ms. T and Dr. Merrill for giving me the opportunity to be an ambassador, and I love it in the family. So lastly, thank you guys for having us.
I'll invite Ms. Mouton to come on up, who also works for the district, and just to share a little about her role. Without sponsors like the African American Museum, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And you hear a little bit of the benefits, but being able to make the donations allows us to put on nights like this and broaden the scope and the impact that we have that we're so tremendously thankful for, that you've established for many, many years. So thank you. And Ms. Mouton, if you'd come up, we'd appreciate that.
The Brazos Valley African American Museum is pleased to be able to work with Bryan ISD to support the professional development of teachers and student learning and growth. And over the years, we've had wonderful opportunities to provide professional development for teachers that's led to more local relevance in the classroom. We're also pleased to be able to work together on the Dr. Martin Luther King Essay Contest, and we love having students visit the museum. Just last week, 70 students from Neal came and really enjoyed visiting the exhibits. This year, the museum also sponsored a special award for the Brazos Valley Regional History Fair, and 2 young men from SFA Middle School won that award. And the museum and the district look forward to supporting those young men as they prepare their documentary to present at the State History Fair in Austin. The museum is also pleased to recognize 3 Bryan ISD educators for their outstanding contributions to our community: Superintendent Ginger Carabine, teacher and head coach Mike Carabine, and State Teacher of the Year Naveen Kuna. And we look forward to honoring them this weekend at our annual banquet. The reciprocal relationship between the school district and the museum makes it easier for the museum to realize its goals of supporting education in the community, and we look forward to exploring further opportunities for involvement with Bryan ISD. Thank you.
If you would, let's give a round of applause to the African American Museum.
Back individually.
All right, we will now move to our Teachers of the Month awards. So we'll start with our Elementary Teachers of the Month for January and February. And board members, I've given everyone one to present, so when it's your turn, please go down and take a picture with our award winner. First, we welcome our Principal Alfred Scott from Sadberry Intermediate, who will recognize our January Teacher of the Month, Dustin Coulter.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here to introduce to you guys our Sadberry Teacher of the Month, Mr. Dustin Coulter. Mr. Coulter is not just a teacher. He is a beacon of positivity, a mentor, and a friend to all who know him. In his role as the discipline teacher, Mr. Coulter demonstrates remarkable dedication and compassion. He approaches his duties with perfect blend of firmness and fairness, always striving to guide our students towards making better choices and learning from their mistakes. His discipline class is not merely about punitive measures, but about instilling values, fostering growth, and promoting accountability. Beyond his role as discipline teacher, Mr. Coulter goes above and beyond in so many ways. He's always willing to step in and substitute when needed, ensuring that our students continue to receive quality education, even in the absence of their regular teachers. Additionally, he manages after-school detention and gives students the opportunity to reflect on their actions and make amends in a supportive environment. One of Mr. Coulter's most remarkable achievements, and I still don't know how he did this, is the creation of our school chant. I mean, who cannot forget "We Are the Mustangs"? The infectious energy of the chant is a testament to Mr. Coulter's ability to inspire and uplift those around him. Mr. Coulter is a true asset to Sadberry Intermediate. His dedication, kindness, and unwavering commitment to our students, parents, and staff make him an indispensable member of our school community. I am grateful for the opportunity to work alongside him and witness the positive impact he's had on all of us. It is an honor and a privilege to present to you guys Sadberry's Teacher of the Month, Mr. Dustin Coulter.
And we have Truist Bank here, who is going to present you with a gift card. Thank you, Truist, for supporting our Teachers of the Month. Mr. Coulter, before you get away, not everyone has heard that chant.
Mr. Scott, that means you too. Come on back.
Okay, good.
Oh, he's got the mic.
All right, so I need y'all to help me out a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Y'all ready? Okay, so y'all gonna repeat after me, okay? I'm gonna teach them real quick. It's gonna We are the Mustangs,
We are the Mustangs.
the mighty, mighty Mustangs.
The mighty, mighty Mustangs.
We stand together,
We stand together.
building dreams forever.
Building dreams forever.
And then we spell out Mustangs, 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 go Mustangs. Can we do it one time?
You got it.
Y'all ready? Y'all stand up for me. All right, so we're gonna do a little quiet pat, okay? It's gonna sound like this. We are the Mustangs. The mighty, mighty Mustangs. We stand together. Building dreams forever. Mustangs, Mustangs, Mustangs. Go Mustangs.
Thank you so much for entertaining us with that. Great job. All right. Next, we will move to our February Teacher of the Month. We welcome Principal Kim Guest from Bowen Elementary as we recognize Kelly Holacek? Holacek, got it.
Hello. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Kim Guest. I'm the principal at Bowen Elementary, and it is with great pleasure that I get to introduce you Kelly Holacek, an early childhood special education teacher of 3-year-olds at Bowen Elementary. She is our Bryan ISD Teacher of the Month, and we're so proud. Ms. Holacek may have the littlest of people in her care, but her job is very big. Bringing in a very young special needs child to a school can be a very scary thing for parents. Kelly has a gift for taking the nerves and apprehension of those parents and turning their fears into a family's first trusting relationship in their child's education. Ms. Holacek has unwavering dedication to each and every student's success. She celebrates their milestones, small and large. But what truly sets her apart is her ability to infuse a sense of silliness and joy into the classroom, making learning an adventure rather than a chore. Her love for students runs deep in everything she does. With clear goals in mind, she inspires us all to celebrate the very little things. Please join me in congratulating Kelly Holacek, our Teacher of the Month.
Yeah, family, come. Congratulations. All right, and next we move to Bonham Elementary. We welcome our principal, Gloria Garcia Rhodes, who will help us recognize Martha Cervera.
Good evening again. Yes, I'm Gloria Garcia Rhodes, proud principal at Bonham Elementary, and it gives me great pleasure to stand before you all to brag on Ms. Cervera, Bonham's Teacher of the Month for February. Ms. Cervera is a 3rd grade bilingual reading, language arts, and social studies teacher, and she is in her 6th year of teaching, and I'm proud to say she's a product of Bryan ISD. Bonham was fortunate enough to have her do her clinical teaching with us, and when she was ready to officially start teaching, we had a spot just for her, and we were able to recommend her to begin her career here in Bryan ISD. Martha is inspiring to watch, and she has such a rapport with her students that her children crave to learn and absorb everything they can. When you enter her classroom, you can feel the energy and the level of excitement that the students have for learning. They really want to be there, and it shows. Whether the concepts are simple or something more advanced, she knows exactly what to do to inspire them. She continually strives to ensure that her students thrive not only academically but socially, as well as creating a classroom environment that is positive and conducive to learning. She's also highly esteemed among her peers. After taking teachers on instructional rounds to watch Ms. Cervera in action, they always walk away very impressed. She is an excellent role model for our young, inexperienced teachers as well as for our veteran teachers. Besides being an expert at the content she's presenting in her varying methods of delivery that make her phenomenal, she's a master at whole group, small group instruction with reading and writing and providing relevant, engaging, and rigorous stations that encourage high-level thinking. Speaking of high-level thinking, her questioning is out of this world, and her students are always asked to think at a high level where they are answering questions in complete sentences and justifying their thinking. And for those that cannot answer, they know that they can quickly phone a friend to help them out. Her instructional abilities also have captured the attention of visitors from the district level as well as those outside the district. When coaches visited from Reading Horizons, they were amazed at her deliverance of the lessons and her implementation of the program. They too agreed that she would be an excellent model for other teachers to observe. We are so fortunate at Bonham and Bryan ISD to have Ms. Cervera as one of her own. Her professionalism and her ability to lead, collaborate, motivate, and inspire others make her a wonderful asset to our campus. So congratulations, Ms. Cervera. I am so very proud of you, and we're going to ask your family to come up. This is Diego, who is in pre-K. He ran away, so we're going to have her family.
And the fun is not over yet. Our secondary teacher of the month, we want to welcome Principal Tommy Roberts from our Bryan Collegiate High School. And we will be recognizing Amy Carry On. Don't roll the R too much. Okay, sorry. Carry On, yeah.
Good evening. I'm Tommy Roberts, the principal at Bryan Collegiate, and the staff at Bryan Collegiate proudly nominate Amy Carrion as our February 2023 Teacher of the Month. Amy's been an integral part of our Bryan Collegiate faculty since the fall of 2008 when she first taught world geography for a couple of years, and then went to be a stay-at-home mom, but just couldn't stay away, and then came back a few years after that, and she's been with us ever since. The first reason that she is such an essential part of our campus is due to her role as the senior AVID teacher, specifically our lead AVID teacher. She consistently has held our seniors to a very high standard in regards to applying to colleges and university and in holding them accountable for their college coursework as they are full-time college students. In light of this, as of today, we've had over 90% of our senior class accepted to over 25 different universities so far. Senioritis is a real thing with students entering the final stretch towards graduation, but Amy's consistent optimism helps keep many of them focused on the main thing and for us to help students make it to the finish line. We also want to point out Amy's incredible work ethic that inspires all of us. Without a doubt, she's always willing to step up to the plate to help out with whatever idea we cook up to help our kids. She's the senior class council sponsor. She's the Bryan Collegiate AVID site coordinator. She's part of the Safe and Civil Schools campus leadership team. She's a content department leader at Bryan Collegiate. She's the community service coordinator at Bryan Collegiate. You get the idea, right? She does a little bit of everything. These are just some of the examples of her incredible work ethic in addition to being a mother of 4 and a coach's wife. One of her colleagues at Collegiate said that Amy Carrion is the embodiment of altruism. Mrs. Carrion consistently puts the needs of students and staff above herself, and she is sacrificial when it comes to the senior class. She's always willing to help assist a student with whatever their need is or give an encouraging word to a coworker. Mrs. Carrion is an optimist to the core and always sees the gold in her students, her coworkers, in all the situations. Mrs. Carrion truly does carry on. It's quoted there, yeah. Amy's resilience and eagerness for student success and eternal optimism make being her colleague a genuine joy, and I couldn't imagine Bryan Collegiate without her. She's a genuine treasure and an incredible asset to our campus and our district as a whole. Because of all of this, I'm proud to stand here and nominate her as the Bryan ISD Secondary Teacher of the Month for 2023 in February. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, and next we will be recognizing I feel like I'm leaving someone off, so I want to double check. I don't think we are. All right, we will be moving to our auxiliary employees of the month for January and February. First, we want to recognize Sunday Fryer from our school nutrition program. And woohoo! And we will be recognizing Bobby Hill.
Good evening. School Nutrition Services is proud to recognize Bobby Hill as January Auxiliary Employee of the Month. Bobby Hill is a school nutrition employee at Sam Houston Elementary and has worked for Bryan ISD for 18 years. Ms. Hill is an exemplary employee, a great team player, and is always willing to help her coworkers. She is known in her kitchen as Miss Congeniality because she could easily win a contest for being the friendliest and having the best personality. But what really makes her stand out from other employees is her excellent customer service and her love for the students. Ms. Hill arrives each day at work with a positive attitude, a contagious smile, and a good morning or an enjoy your lunch for all students venturing through the serving line. In addition to her kindness and friendly greetings, she remembers special events or activities about each student or their siblings, and she asks teachers and staff about their families as well. Ms. Hill is so loved by the students at Houston Elementary that a couple of years ago, when she had to be out, she received several handmade get well cards and bracelets from the students at Sam Houston. As you can see, Bobby Hill is an outstanding employee, has a heart of gold, and is a true asset to Bryan ISD School Nutrition Services. We are honored to recognize Bobby Hill as the district's January Auxiliary of the Month. Congratulations to Ms. Hill on a job well done and a recognition well deserved. Thank you for being a proud member of School Nutrition Services team. We love you.
All right. And last but not least in our spotlights, we welcome Lori Sears from our Transportation Department to recognize Guadalupe Arredondo.
Good evening. I'm Lori Sears. I'm the Director of Transportation. And this is Guadalupe Arredondo. So Student Transportation Services is proud to recognize Guadalupe Arredondo, known to us as Lupe, as the auxiliary employee for the month of February. Lupe has been serving the students of Bryan ISD as a bus driver for 3 years. And Lupe came to Bryan ISD as a commercial driver who retired from the Brazos County with 26 years of service. He was referred to Bryan ISD Transportation by another driver when he started his employment with the district. Because Lupe maintains his Class A CDL, you'll find Lupe driving the semi-tractor and band trailer to the football games and competitions. This is the guy that does that for you. On any day, Lupe consistently shows the following quality characteristics. He has got a daily positive attitude. He regularly goes the extra mile. We call that a gem in transportation. And he's a team player. He exhibits a great work ethic. He's always proactive. And Bus 75 students and parents let us know that they just love Lupe. Lupe's a role model for our new hires and the current transportation employees. He never says no when he's asked to assist with additional route coverages. He has great student management skills, and he is a very dependable employee. Lupe's a graduate of Bryan High School and a lifetime resident of Bryan, Texas. He and his wife, Delore, who is a 30-year employee with the technology department with Bryan ISD, have 4 children who have all graduated from Bryan ISD. Not to mention his youngest daughter was one of the first students to graduate from Bryan Collegiate High School. Aww. It is clear to us in transportation that Lupe has caught yellow fever. and he loves student transportation. The transportation leadership team sees Lupe as an asset to our department, and I am truly honored to recognize you, Lupe, and I appreciate your continued service to our department in Bryan ISD. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you all for being here for our spotlights, and I also just wanted to highlight another spotlight we did in advance of this. We recognized our teachers who are earning the teacher incentive allotment, which is amazing, and Bryan ISD had 243 teachers who've earned this designation this year, so that's very exciting. So thank you all for being here for those spotlights. We are going to take just a brief recess before we start our information items, so we'll do that now. for that brief recess. But we are going to shift the order of some things around a bit this evening so that we can do things the right way. So the board will now convene in closed session to discuss the following items as allowed by Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.071, .074, and .0821. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. It is now 6:43 p.m. in open session at 7:47 PM. No action was taken in closed session. All right, so continuing on with our agenda, we will start with our information items, and first we have a public hearing for the district annual report. I now call this public hearing of the Bryan Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting was duly called, and that notice of this meeting was posted in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551. Let's see. We will now have the presentation of the district annual report by Dr. Barbara Ibarra, Associate Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, and Dr. Jill Morris, Director of Accountability, Research, Evaluation, and Assessment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Falls. All right, good evening. Thank you, Dr. Harlan. We are here for the annual report. This report typically takes place each December of the year. This year, it is a little later than normal. The state had some delays in releasing accountability scores and testing scores. As you know, there was an overhaul to the state accountability system and the testing system last year, which delayed their reporting to school districts. So recently, we did receive the report. The bulk of this report is comprised of many different items, and they're listed there on the screen for you to review. But the first item on there, the Texas Academic Performance Report, otherwise known as TAPER, is the one report that we were waiting on to complete this annual reporting to the Board of Trustees and to the public. So the report itself is over almost 2,200 pages. Dr. Morris and her team compiled the report, and it is basically the data that you saw about last year. So all of the reports in this document are last year or even lagging multiple years back, but are now being reported by the state of Texas. And so much of what you're going to see this evening, we're going to do a very high-level overview, is repetitive of prior presentations that the board has already received. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Morris, who's going to explain the comparable group methodology, as well as some of the performance from the new STAR assessment from last year. Dr. Morris.
Thank you. Good evening. So make sure I'm on the right slide. Each year, we always do a comparable districts. We find 5 or 6 comparable districts that are more similar to us than the state as a whole. And so you can see on the screen the qualifications we use. This year, the 5 districts are the same as they have been the last couple of years, just because those are the districts in the state that are most like us in terms of enrollment, economically disadvantaged students, the English language learners, and then their mobility rates. And that methodology is modeled after what the state uses in finding comparable campuses in the accountability system. So as you can see, any graph on here, the lighter blue is the state average, the darker blue is our comparable district average, and then the orange is Bryan ISD. So you can see that we're much more similar to our comparable districts than we are the state in those indicators. So just very briefly, and you've seen the STAR data before, so you're aware of this, but in a slightly different way, you can see that while we don't meet the state average in most of these subjects, this is approaches grade level. We do, in 3 of the 4 areas, outperform our comparable districts on the percent of our students that are hitting that approaches grade level, meaning they're passing the STAR test. You will see the same pattern for meets grade level. We outperform our comparable districts for the most part, but not quite up to the state. So that's where we're continuing to work and target. For master's grade level, we're at or above our comparable districts in all 4 subjects. So our students are accomplishing at that highest level. The other thing that you will see in the taper and that we pay a lot of attention to is growth. And on STAR, growth is tracked in reading and math because they have tests in consecutive years. And so you will see growth for the state the comparable district in Bryan ISD for math, reading, and then the students who had growth in both of the subjects together.
Let me ask a quick question, just for clarification. I assume that state levels are higher because they overall are not as economically disadvantaged, and everything else that we have to overcome is the reason that we are below them. Just when people look at this, they ask me, well, why aren't we even at the state level? But when you look at the state, we're not. We're kind of behind the curve. I think we have a harder time than the state.
We are have a much higher economically disadvantaged level. An at-risk level just for students who are at risk of struggling at school is much higher than the state average, which is why we look at that comparable group to give a more apples-to-apples comparison.
Thank you.
So we have the highest districts in the state are in the light blue with the averages. So of course, those are going to be a lot higher.
There you go.
One other point, just piggybacking on that conversation, the mobility of students also plays a large role in it. Previously, the state of Texas reported the mobility of districts, meaning students coming and going throughout the school year. And then for a few years, they stopped reporting mobility of school districts, but they kept it for the campus level. You'll notice in the comparable group methodology that Dr. Morris mentioned a few moments ago, let me click back there, they did bring mobility back into the conversation. That last row there, Bryan ISD mobility rate is 20%, which is significant. That's students who are having transitions during the school year in and out of the school district. And so the mobility of a student, the interrupted education, and all of that disruption certainly plays a role in how the student's progressing academically. So certainly a good factor to consider, which goes to your point earlier, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I understand that, well, it looks like certainly the comparable group is appropriate. Is that something, though, that we do, or does the state do that? Who does that?
So we do that ourselves. The state does that for each and every campus, and they pull a list of 40 comparable campuses for each campus. They don't do that for districts because districts utilize a different methodology under the accountability system, but for campuses, those are the markers that they utilize, and so we overlaid them on districts. And then we have access to a program, thanks to the Board of Trustees, Forecast 5, and we have 5 sites, so we use a peer finder tool, and we can put those stipulations in there for each of those items, and it gives us who those districts are for us. Great question. So lastly, in the annual report of note, the graduation rates for longitudinal cohorts. So we always talk about this one each year, a cohort. All the students who enter 9th grade in the same year and are in the same cohort together, and they're anticipated to graduate within 4 years. And as a student leaves and goes perhaps to another district, they are removed from our cohort and they join their cohort. Likewise, anyone moves into ours, we find out what was your first 9th grade year, what year was that, and that's the cohort they're a part of. So when we talk about reporting, it's not just who graduates that year, but who was supposed to be graduating within 4 years. That's the cohort methodology that the state utilizes. So for a 4-year cohort rate, you can see that we are outperforming the state average for graduation rates. And then the same thing for the 5-year rate, although slightly behind the comparable group, certainly within the range. And as the board is aware as well, that graduation rate has inched upward each and every year for the past 10 years, and we're pleased to see it back above the state level. That's, of course, where we want to be, in one of our biggest goals. Make sure that our students are graduating and that they are college and career ready. So we're pleased to see that data set. Finally, just in this we know is a very high-level overview of that 2,200-page document, but so that the board and the community is aware, this report is available online, or will be in the next 2 weeks as required by law. It'll be available online, and then should anyone request a copy, we're happy to have it available to them as well. If they want to look at it online, we can do that. And then every campus will also have that access and availability to make it accessible to the public.
The end.
The end.
Okay, that was fairly painless. Thank you, Dr. Robert Ibarra. As this is a public hearing, we welcome any questions from the board and the community regarding the annual report. Do we have any questions?
Well, I guess I have one more, and I know it's running late already. Where do we fall if you're looking at the whole state as far as being economically disadvantaged? Are we in the middle? Are we in the bottom? Are we in the top?
We are typically in the top quartile of economically disadvantaged. So if you split the state into 4 sections, we're in that top section of the highest rate of low-income students and families. So the top 25%, we're in that top quartile.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm really proud of that graduation rate and how it's growing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, there being no further questions, please let the record show that this public hearing adjourned at 7:57. All right, and we will now convene back into the regular meeting. We will next hear our second information item, dual language program update. We welcome Dr. Adams Molina, our Director of Bilingual, Migrant, and ESL Services. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much. It gives me great pleasure this evening to present some information that has come out from TEA that is going to be very beneficial to one of our bilingual programs. So I'm super excited about this. Let's see. To start off with, talking about the bilingual programs that we have here in the district, one of them is our two-way dual language program. We also have ESL, and then we also have our transitional program. The changes that I'm going to talk about tonight are going to impact our two-way dual language program. And you're probably wondering, what is that program if you're new to the board? So I wanted to take just a couple seconds to talk to you about that. It's our second language acquisition program in grades K through 6. So in those classrooms, we currently have 673 enrolled students. We have 393 emergent bilinguals, students that are learning and acquiring English, and then 280 non-EB students, so our English proficient students. What happens is on these campuses, Crockett, Henderson, Johnson, and then at Jane Long, we have class compositions of 50% emergent bilingual and 50% English proficient kids that come together and learn together. So they're both learning a second language, and the goal is for them to be bilingual and biliterate through this program. So it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm so proud of this program. Basically, I wanted to give you an example of what it looks like in one of those classrooms. And the way they acquire a second language is through a designed framework. So the framework that you see up there is for kindergarten, and what you have in what you have in red is Spanish, and then in blue is English. So on, for example, Monday, the kids in the classroom, they would have their 4 core content areas plus PBIS, or Essential 8, in Spanish, and then the foundational skills in English. And then on Tuesday, it would be just the opposite. So at a kindergarten level, they alternate daily, and then starting in first grade, they're every 2 days, and then in second through 6th grade, they alternate by weeks. Let's see. So our current two-way dual language program application process is we focus on entering students from kindergarten. We have a parent meeting that we give them information relative to the program, the goals, the benefits, the 7-year commitment. Really, truly what it takes to become bilingual and biliterate is a 5 to 7 year commitment to the program. So we have parent tours that we offer the parents on the 3 different elementary campuses. We take them, we answer questions, we really try to give them as much information as possible for them to make a very informed decision, again, because we're asking for that 7-year commitment to the program. We have parents complete an online application to participate in the program. The students, after they complete the online application, they're given an oral language proficiency assessment. And the students that score higher than 3 on that OLPT meet the criteria to participate in the program. Students are offered a seat in the program at the campus of their choice, and that's contingent on available seats. And then the bilingual department, we're in charge of creating those class compositions, because what you want to see is, as we talked about in a previous slide, is that 50-50 composition, 50% emergent bilingual and 50% English proficient students coming together and learning together. So 2 changes that came out from Chapter 89 updates. The first one is looking at the selection criteria for students participating in this particular program. The change indicated the removal of any academic or linguistic assessment. So we're moving forward, we're not going to have that OLPT as an entry criteria to participate in the program. What we are doing, however, is after the student is accepted into the program, we're still going to administer that assessment to create balanced classes. We're going to use that data to help create those balanced classes. But it will not be as an entry into the program criteria. And then next, we're looking at implementation in the earliest grade level possible. I told you that we started in kinder, we currently start in kinder. Starting in 24-25, we're going to pre-K. So I'm super excited about that. We've been working with early childhood, and it's just going to be so beneficial for both of our programs. Really, starting with, even the younger kids and giving them an 8-year commitment to learning a foreign language in English or in Spanish is going to be phenomenal. So I'm happy to announce that Henderson will be piloting the new pre-K two-way dual language program for 24-25. We will open the pre-K application process at the end of March and early April, but we're right now actively, actually tomorrow evening we have a parent informational night in English for our kindergarten students, our entering kindergarten students, and then on Thursday for our Spanish speakers, and then after that we have the kinder and pre-K roundup, so we're partnering with them to get the information out about our new two-way dual language in pre-K. So that's coming up very quickly. So our updated process, this is what it's going to look like. Now we're looking at entering pre-K students. We're still going to have an informational parent meeting in English and Spanish. It's an online application, but the way we address it now is the applications reviewed in the order that they are received. So as soon as we get the applications in, then we start looking at classroom composition, filling the seats, and having just a wonderful program. When we're looking at removing the linguistic or academic measure from criteria of participation, it's removing a barrier. So that's why I interpret this is a good move by the state of Texas. So we welcomed this particular change. It's really good. And then also starting in pre-K, 2 great things done by the state. And then with parent letters, we'll send those out, and then the class composition will default to the bilingual department, so we can make sure to have those balanced classes with the language balance in those.
I would just like to say that that's the first time I've heard anybody say the state did something
I'm
great.
excited.
So
Yes, I wanted to preface
in
this
my
whole
year here,
presentation.
that's the first time. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I actually said it earlier today about teacher incentive allotment.
Okay,
They
okay.
did
I'm
that
Two
too.
times
So,
in one day.
yeah.
I mean, this is
Two
great.
in a day. They met their criteria. Thank you.
Do you have any questions at this time?
I think it's amazing. I mean, kids learn linguistics at a younger age more easily, right? So it makes perfect sense to me that we'd be moving this down into pre-K. I'm glad we're equipped to do that. That's amazing.
Yes, we're ready. We're talking about curriculum and staffing and talking with the principal at Henderson, and she's super excited. We're super excited. So it's going to be great. And I think that the parents are it's going to really increase our enrollment in pre-K. It's going to bring the parents out. They're going to be in a dual language program. It's going to be, I'm very excited. It's going to be great. So thank you very much.
Yay. Thank you. All right. Our last information item, our teacher incentive allotment update. Our presenter is Dr. Barbara Ibarra, our Associate Superintendent of Teaching and Learning.
Thank you, Dr. Harlan. It's with great pleasure that I get to do the informational item for the teacher incentive allotment. Dr. Harlan, you mentioned it earlier. It is a wonderful team, both at the campus level and at the district level, that has accomplished a program that has been successfully accepted by TEA and has passed all of the data tests. So just a quick update for the Board of Trustees. First, we began this journey back in 2020, believe it or not, and in fact finished up the planning phases around 2021 and submitted our application. So that gold star on the cycle that you're seeing up there is where we began. So a full year of planning before we began live data collection. So our first group of teachers, our first cohort of teachers to go through this process was 2021 and 2022 teachers, and they were in live data collection. What that means is they were teaching with us that year, okay? Teachers that were in eligible courses were teaching with us, and we were collecting data on them. The following fall, we submitted data on their behalf to the Texas Education Agency and Texas Tech University for review. And then that spring of 2023, we got the results of that data test. And we were very fortunate that our system had full approval and our designations were awarded. So last June was our first payout. And that transpired, and it was a wonderful moment for all of our teachers. And we began the application process again. So it's a 2-year cycle to go through this process. The group this evening that the board greeted and welcomed and celebrated with was the second cohort of teachers that have gone through that entire process. Again, it's a 2-year process from live data collection to designations being awarded. So the 2022-2023 cohort of teachers has now received full approval, and all of their designations were also accepted by the Texas Education Agency. Right now, we are in live data collection for the 23-24 cohort, and this is a different group of teachers. So we kept it the same for 2 years until we passed the data test, right? And now we've expanded to more teaching assignments. So right now in Bryan ISD, we've expanded to the point where 74% of all of our faculty are in TIA eligible courses. So that's a big advancement, a big group of teachers coming online this year in live data collection, so we're super excited. Another reminder of the teachers who receive a designation receive a payout annually for 5 years between $3,000 and $28,000 since they work in Bryan ISD. It's all triggered by the percentage of students on free and reduced lunch that are served at the campus where the teacher works. And that does not come from our budgets, it comes from the state's budget. So a really wonderful thing, as Dr. Harlan mentioned. So just a few quick numbers about our teachers right now in Bryan ISD. 42% of the first 2 cohorts of teachers are actually already holding a designation. So again, that's a larger group now, so we'll have more teachers soon, but for that first group of teachers, it was 42% of them receiving a designation. In total, we have 243 designated teachers, and you can see the breakdown there from recognized all the way through master level, master being the highest. This year, 111 teachers were added to our TIA system, 89 of those being new designations, that should be, or 82 of those being new designations, and 29 being a higher designation. So what that means is a teacher who in that first group maybe was a recognized teacher has now leveled up to a master level teacher, and some of those were here this evening. So they've actually grown in terms of their designation. Every subject is covered, every grade is covered, every year of experience is covered. In fact, in that very first cohort of teachers, we had a very brand new first year teacher receive a designation. 0 years of experience, that was her first year, so 1 year of experience, and we'll have that designation for 5 years. We have much more information online about our system. Each district, creates their own district local designation system, and it's unique to Bryan ISD. I think ours is going quite well, but thankful for the board to be there this evening and to celebrate with the teachers, and thankful to welcome them and retain them in Bryan ISD.
Barbara, I remember it was during COVID, I think, that you brought this to us.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thought, we talked about it. We said, well, this is great, but how in the world are we going to implement this with everything else that's going on? And here we are, thousands of dollars later for our teachers, and it's working, and we have a high amount. And this isn't just our AP teachers that work on this. I mean, we've got teachers at every level, coaches, everything involved in this. And I'm just so proud that you got it, everybody got it off the ground, especially during COVID when everything was so upside down. And here we are.
It's a wonderful benefit for our teachers. They all deserve as much as we can possibly give them, and it's wonderful the state's done this. It's a way for us to support and to compensate them appropriately.
Well, they have to work hard
They do.
for this.
They do.
And so it's, the first thing they'll say is, oh, we're my tail off for this.
Well, it's
But-
centered on student growth, which is so important. It's about growing the students, so take them as far as you can in the time that you have with them. And these teachers absolutely exemplify that.
Well, kudos to our leadership it would have been very easy, like many districts, to just say, well, we'll wait and we'll see what happens. And the fact that we did not wait, that we tried, means that we have 243 teachers that will be seeing the benefits of a state program that will increase their salary for 5 years. That's just, thank you for your efforts, and for
Thank
the
you.
efforts of our superintendent in pushing that forward.
And thank you to our Board of Trustees, because one of those meetings was during the snow apocalypse. And it was from my car that I presented to this board.
I think I remember
Because I
that.
didn't have internet in my house because the electricity was out, and I was in my car with its Wi-Fi. So thank you to the board.
It was
an adventure.
snowpocalypse, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move to one of our standing committee reports. We're going to hear about our executive board committee update on MC Harris, the development of the 2024-2025 academic calendar, and the alignment of fiscal years by David Stasny.
Well, you pretty much said it all. We did meet on the 14th, Valentine's Day. The executive committee met, you, Dr. Harlan, and Felicia Benford, and myself, and some of the staff, including the superintendent. And we just briefly went over the goal of MC Harris wanting to find ways for them to be able to participate in this CTE program because it's really a strong opinion that's going to be a real help for the students that are in MC Harris. And school finance, that's going to be discussed by Mr. Besaw later, so I won't go into really detail. It's just about the possibility of changing our financial calendar fiscal year. And then, of course, the calendar also is going to be up for discussion. That's been a long process, and it looks like Barbara, I don't know if Barbara's going to present that tonight. Somebody with the staff is going to present us where we are with that with regard to the recommendation.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Stasny. Next, we have our superintendent update on staff and student celebrations by Ms. Ginger Carabine.
Thank you, Dr. Harlan. We've got so many things to celebrate. It's really incredible. Student and staff celebrations galore. So I know it's late tonight, so I'm going to cover these very quickly. On this first slide is just a culmination of the things that have been unfolding. So again, I'll just spotlight a few of them. In the far top left corner, you're looking at Caleb. He's a student. He's actually a senior at Bryan High School. And the reason this photo is significant is recently we went to the Junior Leadership Brazos event sponsored by our Chamber of Commerce. And they were telling a story about a young man who was selected. And by the way, it's a very prestigious group of students who are selected among hundreds of kids who apply. And the chamber president was telling a story that there was a student who enjoyed the experience so much from participating as a junior that he actually gave his own money to sponsor a current student at Bryan Collegiate. And I was thinking, this is the most amazing thing. And they were saying that the student is an entrepreneur, he has his own company, and they were just going on and on about this amazing kid. And Tommy Roberts leans over and he says, you know, that's my student at Bryan Collegiate High School. So Bryan Collegiate High School had this amazing student giving back. He is an entrepreneur, he does his own company, and he stepped up and he was among CEOs and bankers and elected officials, all the other people who sit in that room who sponsor and support and mentor. And here we have a student in our high school, 17 years old, standing shoulder to shoulder with leaders in our community doing this and giving back. And one final story just about the caliber of the kid that he is. He's a great student, well-rounded, running his own company. We had an event on Saturday with the Junior Achievement. It was a bowl-a-thon, their biggest fundraiser of the year. And this is a funny story. Dr. Merrill actually ran to the Kolache store, and he runs into Caleb and his little brother, who were on the way to the junkyard because they run a junk removal company. And they were at work, and he mentioned this big fundraiser, and Miss Carabine had been looking for students. So they dropped what they were doing, showed up at the bowling alley,
put on the bowling shoes and bowled with me for several hours to support the effort of the junior achievement of the Brazos Valley. So it's just a top-notch kid giving back and representing us so well. And the other thing, there's a couple of photos on here. We just had an unprecedented number of students who are history fair winners that are advancing to the state. So you can see we've got a student there with the medal around her neck. We have students on here, just great success stories with their teachers. We just came off the heels of the Neal Elementary Family Engagement Night, just tremendous turnout with that. Sadberry doing amazing things, including their incredible pep rallies. Their school tradition and culture is off the chart for a first-year school. There's a photo in there of Bryan High School student. His name is Christian. He was selected to perform with the All-State Choir. He also had the lead role as Danny in the Grease performance. We had a record number of students and parents show up at Texas A&M last weekend for the Read by Third effort, partnering with A&M to take the tour and meet with the Corps. And then finally, we had some photos on here from signing day. So moving on, again, it's a good problem to have that I have so many things to brag about. But for the first time ever in the history of Bryan ISD, we have a Bryan ISD teacher at Branch Elementary who was just awarded by the HEB Excellence in Education Award. Out of more than 5,000 nominations, Christy Byerly was selected among the top 3 finalists for the whole state of Texas. So we surprised her with HEB that day, and she received a $1,000 check, and now we're waiting anxiously to see if she rises up to become a finalist or the eventual winner. Again, this is the caliber of teachers, and this is what's happening in our Bryan ISD classrooms. Moving on, again, this was on the heels of the signing day across the community in our state, and I'm pleased to share that Rudder High School had 5 athletes and Bryan High School had 5 athletes who signed letters of intent to play at the next level. So they're going to take that talent and represent us at the collegiate level, and we're so proud about that. There's also a small photo there. We had a great day on Friday as we had a send-off for 3 of our wrestlers at Bryan High School who advanced to compete at the state tournament. And then finally, and it's happening right now, the Bryan High School boys basketball team has advanced to bi-district tonight. They're playing Duncanville, and I don't know what's happening, but we know the game is in play as we speak. And then also a huge congratulations to the Bryan High School girls basketball team for also advancing to play at the next level in the bi-district round. So great things are happening for our athletes, and so many of these kids that you're looking at, again, are so well-rounded, involved in many, many things. And as you know, extracurricular affords them choices and opportunities, and it also ensures that they're doing well in the classroom. So we're super proud and can't wait to watch all of them go to the next level. And then also speaking of family engagement, we had our first ever on February 10th. We are committed to deepening our connections with our families and our community. So we held our first Parents as Partners series, and this was just incredible. We had community members show up to present. We had our own staff there. We had former students. We had current students. And I must admit, it was amazing. There were over 15 community resources shared for our family members. But I have to admit, the highlight were 2 Sadberry Elementary students from the choir that sang solos that stole the show, if you will. It was just incredible. So we look forward to a continuation of this. We made a commitment to our parents to provide these resources for them to best equip them to be successful in school. Not just in-house school resources, but our community as well. We want them to be able to leverage every opportunity. And we've talked about it a lot tonight with the teacher incentive allotment, but I must applaud again Dr. Barbara Ibarra and her team for affording us this opportunity. Ms. Waller, you're right. When we contemplated this, it was overwhelming. It seemed almost impossible. Yeah. And then factor in a global pandemic and snow days. I mean, it felt like every obstacle was coming at us, and it was giving us all the reasons to push back and not do it or just wait to see what happened. But this team believed in it, and they knew that the outcome could be tremendous for our teachers. So the fact that we celebrated 243 teachers who will get significant payouts is just incredible. And I could not be more proud of our teachers, the principals for supporting them, Barbara and her team, the board support for making this happen. There are still many districts out there are still waiting to see. By the way, they're calling us to figure out how did we do this and how did we get it off the ground. So I feel like we're a role model for others in the state right now. We're just very, very proud. And then finally, speaking of family and community engagement, we have a big event planned tomorrow for the first time ever. We're launching what we call the Next Step.
And this is to address the transition from elementary school into intermediate. So we're calling all parents with rising fifth and sixth graders to join us tomorrow night at Sadberry Intermediate. Again, we have community members and resources coming in to speak to the parents. We have staff members that will be present. We're going to talk about opportunities for making sure parents are aware and to know how, again, to leverage the resources. We're going to talk about advanced academics. We're going to talk about AVID, CTE, and just multiple other resources to prepare our parents to support their kids to, again, ensure success. We're just very proud of this, and again, it's back to that commitment, promises made, promises kept, to support our parents so they can best position their kids for success. So we're very proud. So if you don't have plans, join us tomorrow night, right after school at Sadberry Intermediate. And that's all for tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Carabine. All right, we will now hear citizen comments. So citizens may make comments about topics relevant to district business. Topics may be limited to 3 minutes. Comments concerning specific students or personnel will be heard in closed session. And we have one submitted comment tonight from Bishop Maurice Green Jr. So if you would come forward, Bishop Green. Thank you. I've asked Mr. Stasny to keep time, but I first need to ask you, does your concern, is it about an employee?
It's concerning my meeting with your executive board concerning an issue that I brought up to you and a letter that I handed to you. That's what it's concerning, and because I have not heard anything from you, I thought it was necessary for me to address you here because my matter was of the utmost concern to me as well as to my community.
So let me ask you again, is your concern about an employee?
It's concerning the superintendent of schools, like
Okay.
I talked.
So we will move that to closed session.
You want me to meet in closed session with you?
Excuse me?
Or you asking me to meet in
Yes.
closed session with you?
Yes, we hear concerns about employees or students in closed session.
Okay, now when is that taking place?
Right now.
Okay, let's.
Yeah. So the board will now reconvene in closed session to discuss the following item according to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. And I'm going to say this one's under personnel, so let me find that one. That's great. So that's .074. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in the open meeting. It is now 8:24 p.m. reconvene in closed session at 8:33 p.m. We will now move to our items for discussion and our action with our consent agenda. I did also want to share, I failed to do this earlier, that 2 of our board members are away on work business this evening. So that's why Ms. Binford and Mr. McCall are not here this evening. As a reminder to our board members, we can remove any item off the consent agenda and discuss that separately if you so choose. But if there are no concerns, I'll entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Dr. Harlan, I move approval of all the items listed on the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All right, it's been moved by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Mr. Stasny. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion's approved. Thank you. And now we will move to items for discussion or our action. Our regular agenda, we will start with business services. Ooh, this is going to be a mouthful. Consideration and possible action on an easement to Atmos Energy Corporation consisting of a certain 0.1090 acre easement situated in the Zeno Phillips League, abstract number 45 in Brown County, Texas. Said easement being a portion of a called 95.29 acre tract of land recorded in volume 10014, page 1, to serve the Ruby Halliburton Auxiliary Complex and the property as a whole. We will be hearing from Mr. Paul Buckner, our Director of Construction and Energy Management. I think I said
Does
the
the
hard
volume,
part
yeah, the
for
volume was,
You pretty much said the agenda item. It's,
Yeah.
no, so thank you for having me tonight. This is for the Atmos easement to serve the Halliburton Auxiliary Complex to provide construction and maintenance of the natural gas line for the, natural gas for the building.
Any questions? If not, I'll hear a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Says motion for consideration.
So do we read it all over again?
So the motion is, why am I not seeing it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I move for,
It just says motion for
yeah,
consideration.
I move approval of the easement to Atmos Energy consisting of 0.109 acre easement.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Waller? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion's approved. And we have another one, which I shall not read all that. This one relates to Sadbury Intermediate. Again, Paul Buckner, Director of Construction and Energy Management.
Yeah, so this one is for the City of Bryan easement for the water line that feeds Sadbury Intermediate School. That water line, of course, has already been constructed, but this is for ongoing maintenance of that line as long as Sadbury Intermediate is there and we still need water to the building.
There was a lot of back and forth on this one, but we're where we think we can, it's okay.
Yes. Oh, yes. Everything has been, all of our requests and city requests have all been kind of met. Everyone's approved on it from the City of Bryan's legal team as well as our outside legal counsel.
I move the board approve the non-exclusive water line easement to the City of Bryan providing water utilities. Said easement is located on the property known as Sadbury Intermediate.
Thank you, Mr. Stasny. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion is approved. We will now consider approval of board policy change CE local. This will come from Mr. Kevin Besaw, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. This is a board policy that governs our actual fiscal year that we do our financial accounting on for the district. What we're recommending tonight is to change that fiscal year. Districts can have one of two, either your fiscal year ends on June 30 or your fiscal year ends on August 31. What we're recommending tonight is that we change from our current August 31 year end to the June 30 fiscal year end. And there's several benefits that help with that we work through to make it better, I guess what you'd say, for the district. But one of the ones is that it matches up the fiscal year with the academic year. And in this case, it also matches up the local budget with many of the federal major grant budgets as well. So there's less accounting back and forth for that. Some of the benefits for that are several, but again, just matching up the years. We also have better for recruiting and retention. Our salary and budget are all done. Instead of being done in July and August, we would be done in May and June. So we would begin bringing that forward to the board much sooner. Fiscal year end close, one of the big advantages is right now how we do fiscal year end is we close at the end of August. Well, everybody's coming back to school. The campuses are all in business and going full speed ahead. And then we shut down the finance part, the business part of the operations, and that is not very beneficial to them. So really then we would close the year end in the summer when no one is actually on campus, and we get all that done in the off period, and you're doing those kind of things. It's not interfering with the campuses. Another benefit is there's a one-time addition to local fund balance, and that's due to the 2 months of July and August operating costs that you don't have those, so you pick those up in the local fund balance. You have greater flexibility with the external audit staff. They have much more time. Currently, there's about 300 districts that are on the June 30 year end. And so there's about 1,000, a little over 1,000 districts, so about 30%. So this is beneficial to them as well because it spreads their work out. Why now? I mean, the transition we're going through, we've talked about several times in the boardroom from our current financial and business operations software to the new Skyward software. And as we go through that, we're already looking at those processes and setting that up. So it makes sense to set them up one time and do it as we're working through that. Some of the challenges that we would have, staffing and salary decisions have to be made earlier, even regardless of the legislative session. You come out of that and you're end of May, you're having to do your budget and raises and all that by June to set your budget, which can sometimes be a challenge. Your tax roll and that are not necessarily certified, or they wouldn't be certified yet, so you're doing estimates on that. Debt service fund will show a jump in the fund balance because a majority of your tax collections are done. Your payment's not actually due until August. So, and that's just a timing matter. It doesn't change the amount of the payment or anything like that. And then another challenge is the transition to Skyward. Takes some additional staff time to set up initially and potentially some added cost for support. The timeline that we would be working on, of course, tonight we're bringing to the board for discussion and consideration. Early March, we would submit this to TEA. We've talked to TEA. They said they've given us verbal approval that they would move forward with this if we have the board approval. March and April, we'd do staffing projections, employee compensation discussions, bring forward to the board. And then our interim audit work, we would start that in April or May, which normally we wouldn't be doing that until June. And then June, of course, we'd adopt the budget for the 24-25 fiscal year, which would run from July 1 of 2024 through June 30 of 2025. And that's really the nuts and bolts of it. Is there any questions that we can answer at this time?
Can you go back to the two slides back about okay. What would we be preparing ourselves? The certified tax roll is not complete until July, therefore taxable values are estimations. So what is that? What what does that mean for the other entities that we deal with if we're giving them estimates?
Well, really, the estimates would be for our revenue purposes, for our calculations.
Okay, so it's mostly
It's just
us
ours,
that's going to
yes.
be, okay.
Yeah, it really wouldn't affect anyone else. And we get preliminary values at April 30th. And, we start working on our budget and we use those, and over the years, you have a pretty good feel for how much that's going to change as you go through the process until you get to certifieds. In discussing this with TASBO, the Texas Association of School Business Officials, they've, got people that have done it and gone through it. And they say that a lot of times the districts that are on this June 30 year end, they said they seem a lot more relaxed about the whole process because they know they're doing estimates already. And so you do that, and then you're going to amend your budget as you get to the tax rate and the certified values and all that come in. So they said they usually, it works so that they take their time. They're more relaxed and are able to get that process completed, as opposed to the districts that come up to, you get your certified values in July. You're trying to get all that finished and finalized. It's not, you can do an amendment at any point and bring forward to the board for an adjustment on that. So, but it's just a little bit different timing is all, and we just have to get used to that.
So, Ms. Kuhn, is the staffing and salary decisions needing to be made much earlier? Is that going to have you retire on us? I'm just teasing. Okay. So it's not going to really affect our recruiting and decision making. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm just trying to
Come to the mic.
think my way. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think my way through this when people ask, or if people ask, because I think those two things, if it were me, those two things would be.
I think for the HR point of view, it helps us just because, like Kevin had said, we set the budget, we know what our budget is, May, June at the latest, so we're going to know what salary offers we can have when we're recruiting in June and May. We would know what what we can offer, and right now we don't know.
Right, because of the state's given us so much money all night long, and now all of a sudden we have to gripe again.
Well, and I'm reading this part regardless of legislative session, that's part of that. But the truth is, we don't typically know exactly, anyway, even if they had taken action, we don't know exactly how that impacts us in July or June.
That's true.
So,
but we would know our budget, and if we're going to give a raise, we would already know that as well.
Good.
And then we could have, as an example for this year, we, waited and then did our budget in August, and then waited, and they did, special sessions up till December, and we still don't know anything today, and it's, February the next year. So, it's still going to have to be based on estimates and the best information that we have. But to be able to do those things sooner, I think probably helps, Carol, in recruiting in that, and retention, because they know. So
how does this, and you can give me a real short answer, because I think this is probably just not seeing it, but we have a very complicated school finance system, and it seems like when you're changing the length of at least for 1 year, you're changing the length of it, that's just all prorated or adjusted or something. It's not like it really changes anything.
correct. It doesn't really change anything, but you have, so now you have a 10-month year for expenditure purposes, but you still pick up 12 months of revenue. So you have to accrue some other things for payroll, for example, that, the teachers are a good example because they end their year or their work schedule basically in May 31, but then they've earned all of their pay, but they won't receive that pay until July and August. So you have to accrue those 2 months because that's already been earned. And there's a lot of those kind of things that are back and forth, but I mean, they don't really affect the total amount of money that we receive. They don't affect the total amount of money we pay. It's just that we would pick up those 2 months and we would book those at June 30 at year end. So
Good.
it's just a one-time.
It's just
one-time
accounting
fix.
practices
Right.
that have an impact in the first year that
Yes.
then are void after that.
Correct. The next year you would be on right at 12-month again, and it'd be the same. It's just the 1 year that you have to pick up some of those, and there are some accounting things you have to do to be able to make everything compare for accounting purposes, your financial report, PEMS, all of those. You have to actually do the 12-month so they're comparable year over year. So there's some extra work on that, which TASBO will get them engaged to help us with that.
Well, I love the idea that recruits will know their salary before signing a contract. Because we're like the only profession when people sign a contract, they have no idea what they're going to be making. So, yay, that's good.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
If not, I'll hear a motion. If someone's ready.
I move approval of board policy change to CE local as presented.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Mr. Stasny, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Next, we will consider approval of the 2024-2025 district calendar. We welcome Donna Willett, our Director of Counseling Services.
Good evening. No shocker, I'm here again to talk about calendar. Since the calendar committee and DEIC came up with a recommendation for the board, want to kind of run through real quickly, again, just a reminder of the things that we go through to get to this point. First, we have a calendar committee. They start back in October. That committee is combined of students, parents, which we increased the number, invited much more parents than we've had in the past. They had a number of them showed up very regularly. Teachers, we have campus administration, we have district administration, and then we ensure that we have all of those different programs, because when you're talking about athletics and career and technology and fine arts, all of the competitions and things they do really play into what we do, along with board members. And this year, we had Ms. Benford and Ms. Waller were a part of our team. Those parameters that we have to go by, when we sat down, the very first meeting, and then we kind of reiterate those as we go through, the 75,600 minutes, that's how much time students need to be in class. Again, it's not about days anymore. It's about those instructional and operational minutes. When we build a calendar, our teachers have 187 work days. Because we're a district of innovation, we have flexibility of that start date of school. We use the STAR calendar, though the calendar that's currently out for 24-25 has not been updated since last April. So there is still the possibility they can make some changes to it, but we went with what we had. And then we can also use professional development time to count towards that 75,600, but the state limits us to 2,100 minutes. And then the one thing that I don't have on there is the actual calendar, the days of the week, the months, how things fall. And next year, it's one of those that checks all of the boxes. Labor Day is really, really early. Thanksgiving is literally the latest it can be. Christmas and New Year's fall in the middle of the week, and then Easter is very, very late as compared to when it normally is. So all of those factors play into those decisions. As we started working this year, there have been concerns throughout the year of what the calendar looks like, and so we really worked hard to get input from as many different groups and stakeholders as we could. And so we could take that information from all of these folks to the calendar committee and to the DEIC that really have those final roles of looking up, this is what we want to do. And so all of that was part of this process. So we ended up with option 1 and option 2. And those things that we looked at, because we knew there were concerns this year, there was the early start date that we had for this year, the early releases. Folks really felt like that caused issues in the day-to-day operations. When you're talking about our baby tinies, they need consistency, and that caused some issues. Also had conversations about professional development days, these early releases, time off, being really clustered together. So that was another one of those conversations that we had. How could we streamline things better to have those breaks, but to spread those breaks out? And then the other concern that was brought to us was when we do have these days off throughout the year, making sure that there is childcare in places for our parents to send their kids when they are working and they can't take off with them. And so we have worked really hard to partner with the Boys and Girls Club to make sure there is a plan to get that information out there to them on how to get signed up to be part of the Boys and Girls Club. How much room do they really have? And to get this information there so they do have plenty of time to make those decisions. So we put the calendar survey out the end of January, and it went through February the 13th. We have both options there, along with, we did kind of a comparison so folks could see where they're the same and where they're different and how that affects you, whether you're a teacher or a parent or a student or whatever the case may be. So if you look at those calendar results, we did have a pretty cross-section of community members, students, parents, and staff, but with the majority of it coming from our parents and our staff. They made up 76% of the votes. We had a little over 4,000. And as you go through and look at option 1 versus option 2, in every category, option 2 received the higher percentage, and the overall difference between the two was 65% for option 2 and 35% for option 1. So the recommendation from the calendar committee, from DEIC, is that we accept option 2 as the academic calendar for 24-25.
This is a lot more defined than it was last year. Wasn't it much closer? Were the numbers much closer on the overall last year?
Yes, sir. Last year we had more people vote, but the numbers were much, much closer. Option A last year was at 58% and option B at 42%. As for this year, the difference between the two is 65 and 35. So yes, it is
It's kind of nice to have a clear winner.
much larger gap between the two.
Thank you.
And so this came after a year of doing it. So last year, we didn't have anything to base it on.
You're right.
And so this information came after a year of experiencing it.
And just,
I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I just bring that point, the difference in the two ratios.
but just as a reminder, option 2 is the one that had the 1-week spring break.
The 1 week fall break.
Well, I meant fall. That's what I meant. Sorry, it's getting late. Fall break.
Yes, ma'am. For students, it would be a full week fall break, and then staff, it varies. All teaching staff would be at least 3 days. If they do their professional development during the summer, then they can earn those additional 2 days to be off for the full week.
And one of the things that I wanted to add related to that is that when we look at teacher retention between the fall semester and the spring semester, we saw really high retention rates. This year, as compared to previous years, we can't say it's a causal effect,
Correct.
but it sure seems correlated, so.
Yes, ma'am, and I actually just also shared that information with DEIC at our meeting last week.
Yeah. Awesome.
I have a confession to make. As a parent of 3 children in the district, I cast 3 votes. I felt like I was entitled to those 3 votes.
Yes, sir.
This is on TV, Mr. Bryan. I'd just like to remind you.
But it did bring the question to mind that I could have cast 4 or 5 or 6.
We do have a system that allows us to track, and Dr. Morris has left, but she went through and looked at that. We don't know who it is, but they do check. They're going to laugh at me because I know nothing about technology.
Here comes
IP addresses, And there was no look that there was any one person doing significant numbers of voting, but we
Brian, you
did have
totally got
Dr. Morris
flagged. I'm just
check
going to
that.
say right now, you totally got flagged.
Well,
Oh, he's so young.
Keep in mind, these are the same people that can't get the PowerPoint to work sometimes. So, maybe.
That's true. I can tell you from when I go around and I meet with each campus and I listen and receive feedback, overwhelmingly, they made me understand how much that meant to them. And to just give them that week off to rest and to recharge and to get ready to go back in meant all the difference in the world. And I know you said you don't know if it's causal, but the ones who spoke to me said they felt good about Bryan ISD because we just set ourselves apart from neighboring school districts to have this full week in the fall to take care of themselves and take care of their families. So I do believe it is a way for us to attract top talent and to retain top talent as well.
And I would agree with that. I did get a lot of, parents are the ones that were a little leery always, but every teacher that I've spoken to over the last year said that it's the greatest thing, that they absolutely needed it. They were able to go somewhere with their families and that they were most appreciative of it. So I know we have to take care of everybody and make sure that we can make as many people happy as possible. But from what I've gotten, like Ms. Carabine said, the teachers have overwhelmingly been in support of it. I mean, I guess it shows on here.
Well, and I'm just grateful that we're not left really having to make hard decisions because, the survey results speak. So I'm glad that parents weighed in. I know the 42% who voted for option one may not be happy with this decision, but it's one of those decisions where no matter what decision we make, there's going to be a group that's not going to be especially happy. But I'm glad that people use this as a way to voice their opinions. So I'm glad it's clear cut is my final. Yeah.
Well, and there will be some consolation that the concerns about the early release have been diminished because there are much fewer that'll
Yes, sir.
help.
All right. But being on this committee and knowing how much work the committee chairs, the committee people that put all this together and everybody that came, the room, wherever we met, the room was full. And Donna did an amazing job.
Thank you.
And so much work went in before it ever got to the survey.
Sure.
And everybody's thoughts were taken in consideration.
Well,
So-
and Ruthie, thank you to you and Felicia
Oh,
for serving on this committee. I know when I did the committee assignments, it said as needed on calendar committee, and I know it's a lot
Appreciate it.
at certain times of the year, so grateful for your service on there too.
No, Donna and her group, it was amazing. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Dr. Harlan, I move approval of the 2024-2025 district calendar as presented.
second.
All right, thank you. It's been moved by Mr. Gonzalez, seconded by Mr. Bryan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we will consider approval of the 2024-2025 Bryan Collegiate High School calendar. We'll hear from Tommy Roberts, our Bryan Collegiate High School principal.
Thank you, Dr. Harlan. Good evening once again. So here on Donna's coattails to ask for approval for the Bryan Collegiate calendar. I do want to say thank you to Donna also. I sat in all of those calendar committee meetings with her, and it is a massive undertaking every year. The Bryan Collegiate calendar pretty much mirrors the Bryan ISD calendar, but to facilitate our block schedule that we run at Bryan Collegiate, we're asking for 2 different days. So there is a holiday scheduled on a Monday in September and a holiday schedule, a PD day. In September, 1 in February. So instead of on a Monday, we will move that to Friday. So same number of days, same number of all of the things, just to facilitate our block schedule so students can attend their blend classes.
I move approval of the 2024-2025 Bryan Collegiate High School calendar as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, thank you. The motion was moved by Ms. Waller, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
We will now move to technology, Discuss and consider approval of a purchase over $50,000 for the district-wide fiber optic wide area network project. We will be hearing from Rob Hayes, Director of Technical Support.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I am here to talk to you a little bit about our fiber network. And of course, that is the network that goes all over the city of Bryan to connect all of our schools together back to our technology service center. So want to start off a little bit about our current fiber network. It was actually started back in 2002 as a coordination between the city of Bryan and Bryan ISD to make this a reality. Before that, Bryan didn't have a fiber network. And it was installed in 7 phases between 2002 and 2004, meaning that it's actually over 20 years old. And as that agreement, whenever the agreement was signed in 2005 with BTU to kind of start the maintenance agreement, it started a 20-year maintenance agreement where BTU is actually taking care of our fiber for all sorts of things. Road widenings, pole moves. They moved a big stretch of fiber underground, actually, as part of a project that the city was doing. So for normal utilities, our Optimums and MetroNets and Verizons of the world, they pay for all the engineering on those things, and they pay for all of the work to get the conduits installed and to move all that stuff around. It takes specialized equipment and specialized knowledge. Craig Krause and Will Butcher with BTU have done just a phenomenal job coordinating with us over the years, and that's all been taken care of for us here in Bryan for free. And Bryan ISD is part of that agreement, or I guess not free, but it was wrapped up in that original agreement. But that agreement is coming to an end. It was a 20-year agreement, and in August of 2025, we'll be basically on the hook for that cost of any time that we need to move fiber around. Also, there's been some utility code changes dealing with pole attachment cost, basically meaning that preferential treatment can't be given to one entity over another. So we at Bryan ISD are held to the same standards when it comes to code that Frontier and Optimum are held to. So we wanted to explore some options between the age of the fiber and that agreement coming to an end, and we utilized the E-rate program. I feel like usually whenever I'm standing up here, that's what we're talking about is E-rate. Which is just a federal program that gives us a discount on like all kinds of network stuff. And one of those is fiber. Whenever you do a bid using E-rate for fiber, you have to ask for 3 options. Self-provisioned, that's what we have now. That's where you own it and you take care of it. And then leased lit and leased dark fiber, which we've talked about leased fiber at some meetings in the past. It's just like leasing a car, except you're leasing wires that connect your buildings together. You pay for it on usually a monthly or yearly basis, and everything else is kind of taken care of. Like all those engineering things that we talked about earlier are kind of wrapped up in that agreement. And the difference, just real quick, about the leased lit and leased dark fiber are that leased lit is just you're leasing the wires and you're leasing the equipment that connects your buildings together. With leased dark, you lease the wires and then you use your own equipment. Like Bryan ISD, we own our own equipment to connect our buildings together. And that was all, we released that bid in October, and today we would like to recommend a 20-year agreement with MetroNet for leased dark fiber that will connect every facility in Bryan ISD together. And the amount of it is $2,365,200 before our E-rate discounts. Because of our free and reduced lunch numbers that we were talking about a little bit with TIA earlier, we do receive a 90% discount on these kinds of services, meaning for the 20-year... You're
speaking my language now.
Yeah, meaning that for the 20-year, this 20-year term, it would actually be $236,520 after those E-rate discounts. Wow. And there's several benefits to this. It's going to give us long-term stability. We've enjoyed 20 years of stability with our fiber network. It's one of those things that I just kind of don't worry about because, like I said, BTU have been awesome partners. And, but we are, so this would give us that same stability for another 20 years for something that's so important. It also means that because the maintenance is included in this lease agreement, we wouldn't need any additional staff with that specialized knowledge that we talked about, or training or the equipment like bucket trucks and things like that, that you would need to work on things that are connected to utility poles. And lastly, it would also reduce or eliminate that pole attachment agreement cost that I brought up earlier that kind of came about with some of those utility code changes. So.
Is Metronet's a new company, is that right? Or is that the Metro, am I thinking of the wrong, the new?
Yeah, Metronet, I don't know how new they are, but.
New to our area?
They're new to our area, yes. They've been installing fiber all over.
Right.
The whole, all over the city to residential.
Is there any concern not having a track record, or are you able to?
So we reached out to references. We asked, as part of the bid, we asked all of our vendors, and I should say, we did receive 3 bids. And their references were great. So
Are we
I feel
prepared
very
for-
comfortable with it.
Are we prepared for a Plan B if something,
If they turn out to be
everybody's
dead?
front yard looks like my front yard when, and we have a revolt and everybody cuts, no. But,
Where
so,
you going with
do-
that?
I know, that was,
Yeah.
that was mean, I'm sorry. But do we, I mean, I'm kind of like Leo in asking, I mean, I know they're kind of new around, we're probably behind the times because MetroNet's just not on everybody's tongue. Do we have a Plan B if something should happen to
Julie?
MetroNet?
So, well, what's really nice about our contract is they will have to provide it. And because of this E-rate funding, it does get them on the hook as well.
Okay, so,
What's also nice is I actually called the city, our contact over there, Rob mentioned him, Craig Kraus, and said, look, we're going to have all this self-provisioned fiber. Is that something that maybe, instead of us having to look at taking it all down, would that be something they wanted to take over? So, and then we're also a member of the BVCnet, which is a consortium that includes like Blinn, City of College Station ISD, and we also kind of share fiber that way as well. So, yes, we do have some options if worse came to worse, we needed to, have some help, which we've done for other entities as well.
I
So-
can imagine.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
other
we're actually
providers.
really confident, and the city of Bryan was even, thought it was going to be a good move. I know I look at you.
Well, I was thinking the other cable provider, but I guess we're not having to
Right.
deal, we haven't dealt with them, so.
So maybe you said it and I just didn't catch it. Where does the discount come from? Who covers this discount?
Yes, sir. The E-rate program is a federal program, actually run by the FCC and USAC just for fun.
From all these
acronyms.
fees that they collect from cell phones?
Yeah, a
all
lot of
pay
it
it.
is the
We
bill.
all
You'll
pay
see
it.
it on your, you will see it on your cell phone bill, that's where the money's coming.
Well, the second part of my question is that if we use it for this, are we losing the opportunity to use that discount for something else, or is it, that doesn't work that way?
That's a great question. So this actually falls under a Category 1 E-rate. There's Category 1 and Category 2, which I won't bore you with every single detail. But Category 1, the discount is the discount. If we needed to go, if we built another facility next year, I don't know, and we needed to provide fiber to that facility, just like we did for our CTEC facility and Ruby Halliburton, both of those were E-rate projects, we would still receive the funding just based on our free and reduced lunch levels.
Okay.
You said that the company, they have a performance that's tied, so do they not get paid from the government if they don't fulfill their obligations? What did you mean by they're tied to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. But yeah, that is something that could happen, is that the federal government, the USAC, which is the governing body, could withhold funds if they don't do what they're supposed to do. I mean, E-rate audits not only happen to school districts, it actually also happens to our vendor partners as well. So they have to comply with all of these rules. It's a great question.
That's a good, yeah, a couple $1 million is a good incentive, so that's great. Thank
Right, right. They're going to be getting quite a bit of money from the
Yeah.
federal
I
government as
know,
part of
we're
this.
always interested in discounts. And so we really like it when it's a 90%
90%, that's what I said. Y'all are getting good.
Over a 20-year span, that's
Yeah.
even better.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I move approval of the district-wide fiber optic. Whoa, my screen went out. Hold on.
I move
Were you
approval
teasing?
for,
Oh, my gosh, I thought he was teasing. He was serious about
go ahead, Mr. Stasny.
I move approval of district-wide fiber optic wide area network, 20-year agreement to Metronet in the amount of $2,365,200, discounted by 90%, as presented.
Second. The two chief gates are
Thank
gonna
you.
spin two.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Stasny, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
Great
you, Rob.
presentation. Thank y'all for
Yes,
making
thank
that
you, Rob.
crystal clear for us,
All right.
or for me at least.
Our next item of business, consideration and possible action regarding the superintendent's request for an investigation into administrative matters. No action will be taken at this time. We have already been in closed session, so we will not be convening in closed session. So with that, we will now adjourn the meeting.